So when you see me, like most successful athletes, what you see is not actually what you get. Because under this nice, happy smile is a quiet killer. And this is the thing that stops most good kids from becoming great athletes, because they don't know how to separate the two. What I find is so many kids are nice off the court and they're nice on the court. We have to realize is the court is the cauldron of competition. And when we step between these lines, it is no holds barred when it comes to competing with every ounce of everything that's within us. I'm talking about being a great kid off the court and being a straight killer on the court. I was an honor student. I was someone who was in all types of student activities and clubs. I was someone who teachers would want their daughters to marry, right? I was that kid in school that a lot of the kids looked up to, a lot of the adults loved. But one thing I would always hear after these same adults would come see me play was, "Oh my God, I didn't even recognize you out there." And I don't care if it was a neighbor seeing me for the first time or my grandparents, they all were shocked by my level of competitiveness, my level of grit, my will to win, that dog energy. And so if you're a parent and you've never thought that or heard that about your child, that, whoa, they're completely different off the court than on the court, that tells me your kid is holding something back, because there should be almost an animalistic energy in which they're playing. And a lot of kids just don't know how to activate this. This is the dynamic we're going to discuss today. How do we create this change from humble kid to straight killer on the court? Because when it comes down to between those lines, you've got to have a different level of dog in you. And I really don't know how else to say it. We've all seen dogs. We've seen their aggressiveness. So that is literally the best way I could put it, is when it comes to games, when it comes to competition, we have to become different people. I've heard Beyonce say that person she becomes when she's on the stage is Sasha Fierce. Michael Jordan used to talk about a persona he would develop when he would literally make up stories that people said about him in order to become a different version of Michael Jordan. He would become his airness. Shaq, bunch of stories he would tell himself about his opponent that would literally get him into a infuriated rage and go out and play with a particular aggressiveness that made him great. How do we do this as student athletes? That is the question. Because the number one thing I see that makes good kids bad players is that they're just too nice. They're just too nice. They keep that same persona, that same energy that they have off the court, on the court. And I know if you're a mom, you love this. You're like, my baby's he's just a good kid. It's just great. Listen, one thing I learned is that in life, we've got to compete. And as competitors, we've got to be able to get into that ring and have an thirst to win, to prevail, all costs. One thing you can do to help your kid with this is develop a different persona. Before you walk in that gym, before you lace up those shoes, often we'll pray over our kids just for an armored aggressiveness, for an enhanced mindset to compete at the highest level. What we're trying to do is create a dichotomy between this is when we're off the court and this is when we step on the court. When you step on the court, you're literally stepping into the ring, and you must be ready for a fight, like it or not, because you will either eat or be eaten when it comes to the battle between those lines. The other thing I see from players who are great kids is that they have an unwillingness to make mistakes. So often they just want to do the right thing. And I've made a great video called Acclimating Your Aggressiveness. Go back, watch that video, and that'll show you how to maintain aggressiveness and mindset. But just know that, especially as parents, one thing you can do to help your athlete is to embrace mistakes. Just really get away from getting onto them when they make mistakes, whether it be on the court or off the court. Because if you've got a really good kid, one of the things you have to know about them is they don't want to make mistakes. So anytime they make a mistake, they're hard on themselves. As a result, you've got to teach them to embrace mistakes because really good kids just don't want to make mistakes. I think the number one reason that really good kids make bad players, when I say bad, I obviously mean not the best players. We're talking about being able to ascend to the highest levels here. And the biggest thing is just they are thermometers rather than thermostats. They come in the game and they look around and they see how aggressive is everybody else going to be? How hard is everyone else going to play? What is the level of competitiveness going to be like today? Instead of coming in, priming themselves to throw the first punch, coming in ready to attack from day one. When you can start the game with a high level of aggressiveness, most players aren't even woke the first quarter. So you've already jumped on them and you've already set the stage for having a great game. If you need help with your aggressiveness, we've got tons of videos that talk about this concept, so check those out. But overall, I made this video so that parents began to embrace the second psyche, if you will, that young players need to be able to develop in order to really have high levels of success. Because I know everywhere I went, that was a sentiment, even when my grandparents would see me play for the first time, or my neighbors, they would all come away with the feeling that was a completely different kid than the Jason I know. And if your kid isn't getting this, just check out our AAC. It's our athletic Ascension community. It's our mindset master class. And we talk about the mental reps that young athletes need in order to be successful at the highest levels, not just role players, not just run-of-the-mill average athletes. We're talking about how to ascend, and that always begins with the mind. And so let's get super aggressive. Let's apply what we know, and let's ascend to the next level. Remember to like and subscribe. Look out for our next video. Thanks for watching.